Marijuana decriminalization is coming to New Hampshire. Decriminalization, not legalization. This is HB 640. It's been signed into law by New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu. It will not take effect for 60 days. Not everybody realizing that. And it will make New Hampshire the 22nd state to decriminalize marijuana. Now, being decriminalization rather than legalization, it's going to eliminate jail time as a possibility for simple marijuana possession for personal use. It'll make it a ticket, sort of like a speeding ticket. And if you have up to 3/4 of an ounce of marijuana, you will no longer be potentially punished by up to the year in prison and $2,000 fine that you currently are. Instead, it will be a civil violation punishable by a $100 fine for your first or second offense and a $300 fine for a third offense within 3 years of the first offense. This is good, right? This is obviously good. It's still crazy to me, the idea that you would start paying $100 and $200 tickets for having 3/4 of an ounce of marijuana, right?
Sure.
Like, I think because of the status quo in this country, we've been sort of conditioned to say, oh, if you can no longer go to jail, that's a really big thing. It's still nuts that having 3/4 of an ounce of a plant might put you in jail. Would get you a $200 ticket.
Especially when the vast majority of people in New Hampshire agree with legalization, agree with decriminalization.
Yeah.
And, I think what's telling too here is that New Hampshire has been hit hard by the opiate epidemic.
Yes, they have.
So I think there's two natural thoughts that can come out of that when you talk about marijuana. Some people may think, well, we should take this hard stance against all drugs, stop things that could potentially be a gateway into opiates like marijuana would be.
Sure.
But then there's other people who are realizing that you're putting those two things in the same group when they're not one and the same. And if you have a more sensible marijuana policy, you won't have people going into the black market in pursuit of other drugs.
And in fact, we've seen that in places where marijuana has been legalized, you see a decrease in opioid-related overdoses. And from a criminal justice, so opiate aspect is big in New Hampshire. Criminal justice aspect is big as well. In 2012, almost 3,000 people were arrested in New Hampshire for simple possession, the type of possession that now would no longer potentially put you in jail. So that's a really good thing. The next step is full legalization. And it's kind of funny that, New Hampshire's motto is live free or die. Very, very libertarian state. They've got all these movements about getting people to move up there for all the freedom and liberty. They're the last state in New England to decriminalize marijuana. And part of this, if you don't live in New England, you might not realize New England is this weird mix of super progressive, but also more traditionally conservative in the sense of like the Kennedys, the Kennedys rather than Bernie is the way I think about it. And there's a lot of these strange, outdated blue laws about when you can buy alcohol. There's no happy hour in Massachusetts. You can't reduce the price of alcohol.
We did start as a puritanical society after
That's
all.
exactly right. That's exactly right. And people in other parts of the country might not get that. There is still significant opposition to marijuana legalization in many enclaves of different New England states. And obviously in many other states as well, where it's just flat out like, oh, no, decriminalization. No, we want stricter penalties for people caught with marijuana.
You have to understand that it's live free or die when it comes to issues that conservatives all support. So, for example, the right to bear arms.
Right.
But when we talk about like marijuana or abortion, they're not for that.
More of a conversation that they want to have there. Let's not go too crazy with this freedom and liberty stuff. Might not be good. We increasingly do have at minimum 2 countries here in the United States. I talked about my experience recently visiting Pensacola, Florida, which is, to call it the Deep South, I think is the most accurate way to say it. And day to day, the similarities between someone's environment in Massachusetts and in the panhandle of Florida is very different. We speak the same language. We sort of have the same president, although I don't know that everyone would even agree about that. But it's a very, very different situation. And I think that when we see a continued divergence on drug laws and in many other areas of the law, this contrast between the multiple United States of America is going to become much more noticeable. Let's take a break. Tremendous program today, and big breaking news actually to tell you about also, saving it for the end of the show next. Today's program is made possible in part by Tagadab, the hosting specialists. They host websites for everybody from bloggers to businesses to financial traders. You can get virtual dedicated and private server solutions, cloud server solutions, custom server solutions, whatever is right for your project or business is available at Tagadab. And with a growing number of people increasingly interested in moving their businesses and projects to the cloud, Tagadab is offering our viewers and listeners a 20 British pound free credit when you sign up to give you a chance to try out their cloud server solutions. This is a limited availability offer, first come, first served, for viewers and listeners of the David Pakman Show. To take advantage, go to signup.tagadab.com/TDPS and use the discount code TDPS20 during your account registration. 20 British pounds, roughly 23, 24 US dollars. Once again, check it out, signup.tagadab.com/TDPS. The discount code is TDPS20.